Oh, ugh. You're a man saluting. Take that. Oh. I'm alive, it's alive, we're all alive. Unless you're not and you're a ghost listening, in which case, please remember to like and subscribe. Woo! Stuff, don't I? Right, I'm going to turn up the sensitivity of my microphone, so hopefully it dips out less. Down like that. Click on this. Make my face oh. Close enough, eh? Yeah, that's good. Maybe, yeah. Can people hear me? People hear me? Damn, he's thick. He is thick. Thanks. I'm pretty rotund. Not actually that fat. I'm just short. I'm stocky. I could bench myself. Bam. How's everyone doing? Everyone alright? We are gonna talk about some random stuff today, and I'll go through questions and stuff. I've got a new setup, so I'm a bit sort of out of whack. Okay, so the sound and the audio and stuff, yeah, we might have to fiddle around with, get it perfect. I've got a new graphics card in my computer, 2080 Ti. Started recording some B-roll with that. So in some of my videos starting from next week, you'll probably see that B-roll appear. I'm off to see a friend tomorrow for the weekend, so I will be back potentially some point on Sunday. I am the most interesting Star Citizen content creator, just in general, not for my Star Citizen content, just me as a person. But yeah, so today I wanted to talk about whatever anyone else wants to talk about in the questions in the chat and Bob, but also the 890 jump, which I think they're doing a bit of a focus on in Star Citizen Live, which is going to be in about 50 minutes, and we will do a watch party for that. If it is incredibly boring and soul destroying, I will just go take them and leave you with them. But if there's interesting stuff going on that I can give commentary over, adds to the talk, then we'll talk about that, and we'll watch it together and have a bit of a chat. Obviously, if you want to go and watch that live, do that. If you want to watch it with me, with my commentary over it, then do that. It's all up to you. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the 890 today. We'll talk about the Wave 3 CitizenCon tickets and the sort of expectations for CitizenCon to an extent. We can talk a little bit about the Ballista, because we had the FAQ on it. And we can talk about 3.7, 3.6.1, and all that sort of jazz as well. So, as I said, if you want to ask questions, put question in brackets in the chat. It will help me pick it out. I am using a new chat program to discern. I don't know why I've got it on that screen. I've just pulled it up to my main screen. I've got a new chat program, so I mean it might have mixed workings. So bear that in mind. But this is more of a interactive stream. This is what I do interaction. That's why people go, well, gamer, you're very interactive. I go, yes, I know. I know. I can't speak though. Who said that? What do we got? So 890 in September, 3.7 in November, CitizenCon brackets. I'm not sure if that's a question or a statement. We're supposed to have the 890 jump in 3.6.x, so before 3.7. 3.7 is supposed to be at the end of September, although it could be moved back for CitizenCon. I think that's unlikely. The November branch, well, the November CitizenCon is too close to 3.8 and the end of the year. But anything could happen, I suppose. Though, as far as I'm aware, 3.7 is the Q3 release, and that should be by the end of September. And the 3.6.1 release should be within before that. 3.6 point whatever. 3.6.1 as well on the PTU. Yeah, so that's 3.6.1 on the PTU at the moment. Doesn't have ship rentals or the 890 jump in it, or the additions to the shield tech. So sort of bear that in mind. They are trying to get it more playable though. I'm glad I can cheer you up, Butcher, as much as my dulcet tones can cheer anyone up. I'm doing all right, thank you very much. Appreciate the love. So what I'm going to do? Interactive. Thanks so much, Stefan. Stefan, that's pretty accurate for your name, right? Dylan. Stefan. Detan. How do you say your name? Who knows? You can only type. Where's 4.0 on the roadmap? So lots of people have been sort of poking me saying, well, it might not be 4.0 that's going to be on the roadmap. It might be 3.10. So, well, yeah, but it's largely irrelevant. The next entry to the roadmap, which chronologically should be 4.0, is going to be the Q2 2020 release. I would expect to see that. Interacting with Mr. Gamer, indeed. Thank you very much for the subs, Delamar, and I can't words, and Dethan. Thank you very much for the subs, much appreciated. I would expect that before the end of this month. Hopefully within the next couple of weeks. Probably when the 3.6.x patch goes live, to be honest. Yeah. I'm not sure if there's going to be anything special with 4.0. Maybe it'll be like object container streaming or first stage static server meshing or something. But it's just a number. It's just, we're talking about the next patch. It doesn't really matter what it's called. So let's talk about a couple of things. So the Wave 3 CitizenCon tickets are going on sale. Let's see if I can bring this up. It's somewhere. I'm sure it's somewhere. Maybe it's not. CitizenCon. Bam! Wave 3 CitizenCon tickets are going on sale on Wednesday, the 7th of August, so Wednesday coming up, at 6 PM UTC and 10 PM UTC. Each of those times you can purchase up to 175 of those tickets. No, well, 175 of those tickets go on sale. Now, the second wave didn't sell out super quickly. The first wave sold out within seconds. Second wave, it was a good few hours before all those tickets were sold, I think around a day. So I'd expect the same. And that brings the total attendees up to 1,200 plus devs and staff and stuff. So it's a good amount of people at CitizenCon. Actually less than I was expecting. I was expecting like at least 1,500, 2,000. But 1,200 is a lot of people. And I'm quite excited for CitizenCon. That also is expected that the digital goodies packs will be announced and potentially on sale on Wednesday as well. If you want to go and buy one of those tickets or you're looking for one, then go here. Bam. $125 though, which is very fucking expensive. So bear that in mind, and there's only one type of ticket, so no elitism. It's going to be on the 23rd of November at Manchester, some sort of convention centre there. And it's a Anvil Expo, so I would expect to have an in-game event as well at the same time. All of it will be live stream. I believe there's going to be 2 stages again, and you'll be able to watch everything from the comfort of your own home if you wish. You don't have to actually be there. I suspect there's going to be some loads of cool stuff if you do go there. I'm very much going. I'm going down the day before as well, so if anyone's around the day before and you want to meet up for a drink or whatever, that can be arranged. But it's more likely that there will be a central meeting place for us, or a bar citizen that CIG arrange that most people will be trundling onto the day before anyway. That's what I'd expect. If not, I'll arrange one, an unofficial one. What else do we have? Anything exciting? The latest PTU patch is 3.6.1D. It was actually down earlier, the PTU, that was broken somehow, but it's back up online. The D patch is significantly better than the C patch, which was largely broken, but they are trying to fix through a load of the quality of life and bug fixes that the 3.6 branch has, and 3.6.1 should be significantly better playability-wise. And 3.6 was very good compared to 3.5 in my opinion. Obviously, the hover mode isn't great in my opinion, but it is workable still. They just need to tweak it a lot and get it so. I just want to get rid of the helicopter flying. Oh, I don't want to fly like a helicopter on a spaceship. Identify as a spaceship. Deal with it. 890 jump stuff. So this is the 890 jumps cargo bay. We know, or at least some of it, we know that the 890 jump now is going to be 210 meters long. That's the new confirmed size. That's very big, bigger than the 199 meters that we thought it was going to be after they already increased its size. It will be able to comfortably hold 2 85Xs in its hangar bay, or a Ballista. Actually, is the Ballista in the cargo hold? So, the cargo. Which is all able to transport the Ballista? The 890 jump's rear cargo ramp is large enough to take it. Oh, so that's not even in its hangar bay. That's in its cargo hold. You can have some ships in its hangar, and you can have a Ballista in its cargo hold technically, and be able to be transported around. Although the 890 jump might not be the best ship for that because it's a bit too big to land everywhere. We know that in 3.6.x whatever, that the 890 jump will be able to land at Lawville and at Hurston, and I believe that's it to start with. Lawville, Hurston, and ArcCorp Area 18, in fact. But there's, see, a very, very bad picture of the hangar bay with 2 85Xs in there, so it should be able to fit a larger ship instead of 2 85Xs. Which is cool. I mean, the 890 jump is pretty cool. It's got 68 rooms. It's a stupidly big craft. Stupid big. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to talk about before we sort of like take general questions. oh, I'm shilling for Game Glass this month. So they're sponsoring effectively the channel. Well, they're donating some stuff. They're donating a Drake Corsair, which is an awesome ship, for the giveaway prize, but also an 8-inch Fire tablet with stand and 12 months of Game Glass as well. And Game Glass has a load of functionality with Star Citizen, turning touchscreen devices into sort of like diegetic touch controls that are very, very useful on the fly. Bam, you can do some cool stuff. And it's free, but there's also subscription and elements that you might want to buy, like the mining module you can see here, which basically the idea of Game Glass is they're going to continue to support it and add more and more functionality to it, and you can pay for that functionality or use the free version. So it's pretty cool. I like the idea of it. You can use the code BoredGamer as well to get discount. Bam. Bam. Boom. Nailed it. What else have we got here? I got this up twice. Oh my god, how inefficient. I am going to buy so many spaceships.
Cheers, Proust. Campai. Enjoy the beers.
Thank you very much. Appreciated, City 028. Thank you very much for the donation. Oh, I will drink heartily. Yeah, so I'm going away this weekend just because I haven't seen one of my mates that I was the best man at her wedding for a long time. And she's moved away from my hometown to up near Birmingham somewhere. So I'm going to be going up to by Birmingham. Hopefully there's no flooding on the train tracks, because typically I would go by plane anywhere in the UK that has an airport nearby, just because it's so quick and easy from small airport to small airport in the UK. It's nothing like American airports or anything like that. Small airports, boom, nice and easy, straight through security. Well, at least security and all the sort of customs and everything is super quick to go through. But I'm going by train, which is longer time traveling than I would like. So I've got all this travel equipment. So I've got some cool Logitech, the G533 headset. This is the sort of stuff I'm going to be using when I'm at CitizenCon to do audio broadcasting and stuff. So the microphone on these is apparently pretty good. Good enough for me to be able to then clean up afterwards. I've got my laptop, and I've got a GoPro. This sort of stuff I will be taking and testing probably on the weekend as well. Got to take this dongle, but I've also got a wireless hotspot or wireless modem thing, so I can get to the internet while I'm just around on the train without using the train services. I've got my VPN from Nord set up properly for my laptop as well now. So, getting into the travelling spirit. I don't like travelling. Well, I don't like spending time travelling, knowing that I'm far away from home or a certain amount of hours from home. What else have we got? Anything else? Is there anything exciting in the newsletter? No, not really. Bounty Hunter armor that we might get in 3.7. Oh, some props with 890 jump. So there's like delicious biscuits. And lots of other luxury props and things, stuff for the restaurant area, perfumes, stuff for the spa, some spas. We've got here some more patch notes, jump point. Do anything interesting recently? Hopefully the music's not too loud. Apologise if it was. You thought I was in Manchester? No, I was considering moving up to Manchester. I've been saving for many years to buy a house, and I'm waiting for, after Brexit, probably to buy now. Just to see, because it's unlikely that the house market will go up after Brexit. I don't want to buy a house and then be immediately in negative equity or whatever it is. So I was considering moving up north, because I'm near as far south as you can get. I was considering moving up north. Just because it's cheaper house prices and it's closer to the studios and stuff there, and more central to the UK. In Inside Star Citizen, we did see some stuff on New Babbage, but it was more sort of like, it looks like New Babbage is actually going to be pretty small as a landing zone, and the sort of like main part of it was quite a small zone with a shop in the middle and then lots of shops on the outside, and that was sort of it. We might have some extra bits other than sort of like just the connection areas, the public transport and the airport or the spaceport there, but I would expect the first implementation of New Babbage to be pretty small. Oh, the subscriber update stuff. So Disco was talking about subscriber updates. So they, as far as I can tell, they get about around $3 million at the moment a year-ish from voluntary subscribers to produce video content, and that's incentivized for people to become subscribers by other perks as well. So the idea is that their money pays for community engagement to some extent, and community videos such as Inside Star Citizen, Star Citizen Live, and some other shows we've had previously, as well as the sort of like show where they'll look at a patch just before it goes live and talk about all the features and how it all works. I'm hoping we see some more stuff beyond that, video content-wise, but they've talked about cool new flair starting from this month. So expect to see things like the skull hologram mask and the helmet and the Centurion helmet and some other cool flair like that. This month's subscriber vehicle is all of the Tumbrel Cyclones. We're going to get, if you're a subscriber, better deals when it comes to ships. So what I mean that is access to more deals, I suppose. So there's going to be subscriber-only pledge promotions where they'll have a ship or vehicle that was on sale last month and some flash sales where you can get a year's insurance rather than 6 months insurance on the ship, and they'll give you little flare items and stuff like that as well. And beyond that, I think it was pretty similar. There's lots more information about it coming out on the 14th of August. So if you want to read any of my delightful articles, the latest one's there. But I maintain a website with all of my Star Citizen sort of like videos made into articles. I'm not the greatest at writing articles, but they're reasonable at the very least. It's probably one of the best sources you can find for Star Citizen news. Hopefully the best source. Lots of ads that all the things I shill for. Myself, my Patreon, Shadow, Game Glass, and NordVPN, and probably my, and Star Citizen. Why not? Yeah, I think that's, for the most part, what I want to talk about in regards to sort of like general news. What do we got? What do we got in here? How are you feeling today, Board? I'm feeling alright, Mr. Draper? Dapper Dave. Dapper Dave, that's the one. I'll eventually get names right. 3.10 is 4.0 or not? It's largely irrelevant. When we talk about the next thing that's going to be on the roadmap, it's going to be the patch after 3.9 or the Q2 2020 release for Star Citizen's Persistent Universe. Thank you very much, Neo. Lovely gentleman in the Spanish community, part of Skynet, who recently had their first year anniversary for Skynet. Great job with the Star Citizen community and the things you do. Thank you very much for inviting me to some of that cool stuff. Has there been any information about the Cutlass Red rework? No, it's obviously having a pretty similar rework to the Cutlass Black. And there's going to be medical facilities inside, and I suspect it to be very similar to the Cutlass Black and probably just be a modular room change. 3.10 seems logical. No, you are a monster, Sega Bomb. Hey, Board, is it a game yet? No? Okay, see you in another year. Jokes. But when will they stop deleting my progress? Owen. Okay. So, with progress, they said they are in a place to be able to stop deleting every 3 months and resetting people's progress every 3 months once they have server-side object container streaming and full persistence in. Then they will be in a place where they can, if they want to, stop having those resets. Now, they've also suggested that might be the time that it's sort of like permanent progression. I wouldn't expect to see permanent progression until they entirely move over to just using UEC rather than Alpha UEC, because then that's persistent, that's currency that will be on your account. So, less resets, probably within a year. So they don't need to reset every 3 months. Full persistence with no more resets ever, like permanent progression, I don't know. It could also be in a year. I'd expect it at the very earliest at the end of 2020, but I might be pleasantly surprised. Hello, is a party system and rewards for missions working? So there's no proper system yet for mission sharing. You can be in a part of a party, you can do missions together, but only the mission owner will get the reward for that mission. And the mission owner has to be the one that completes that task for the most part. Some sort of work with you co-oping together, but for the most part, the mission owner will need to take the box and put the box in the machine, or kill the bounty, or whatever. There will be mission sharing in the future. A lot of us are hoping that it's going to be in 3.7. All we know about mission sharing, though, is that it's not going to be in 3.6 branch, because that's what Todd Pappy had said. Or at least he said 3.6's initial release. So there's a hope that it's going to be in 3.7, which looks like it will be at the end of September 3.7. There's a lot of questions with this at the moment, though. Have you heard of anyone that tried to estimate how long development will take by extrapolating their current development speed? No, because that would be ridiculous. Development speed based on what? Different features would have entirely different speeds, and they've been building pipelines and sort of like soft rebooted the game or whatever in 2015, 2016. So it would be really, really weird to do that. Also, I mean, when do you consider the game complete? Do you consider it when it's in a beta stage with all the sort of like features they've talked about in, or is it when they've said that it's now an on-the-shelf release, or what? So, you can have guesstimates and estimates, and I suppose your opinion would be as valid as anyone else's, or anyone that sort of like guesstimated that. But it would be ridiculous to say that you had a formula to be able to accurately work that out.
So many spaceships. Have a beer on me.
Thank you very much, Dalamars. I will have a beer on you. And I might enjoy my trip. It depends on how anxious I am. I hate travelling. Hate it. They should put one more room into the 890 to even it out to 69. I entirely agree. 68, nice. Oh, then it's uneven. Oh my god. Will they be adjusting the cost for repairs? I thought I heard something about that. Yeah. So there'll be. I think repair costs will be relatively dynamic and significantly different prices based on where station you're in and what sort of repairs you need. But also there's going to be different types of repair. So like hulls and components are all going to be a bit different. And then there's going to be repairs that you can do by hand, not just from station. There's going to be repairs that can be done ship to ship. Will we see a mostly water planet? Yes, almost certainly. There's water planets in the star map, and it will be really easy for them to do a mostly water planet. They've briefly talked about the potential for water exploration. We know there's going to be more going on with the water. They want full wave simulation. There's going to be player swimming, so I would expect some level of water exploration, but to what sort of state? I doubt it'll be like Subnautica. Maybe some rudimentary sort of like exploration of the water, but I wouldn't expect like super exploration like you're about to do on the ground. What kind of demos and reveals do you expect for the rest of the year? CitizenCon, etc. Just tuned in, whatever. This hasn't been asked yet. So with CitizenCon, there's a lot of stuff they could show, and it's mostly CitizenCon for the stuff I'll talk about, because they've merged CitizenCon with the expo, with the anniversary sale. So they've pushed all of this back to the 23rd of November, which is the typical date for the anniversary sale. And they've made it into the Anvil Expo at the same date. So expect an in-game event as well happening at the same time, probably where you can rent ships. Expect the RSA Mantis is what we're expecting, which is going to be an RSA heavy fighter, 30 meters. I do think that leak that we saw or heard from Star Citizen Leaks is actually relatively accurate. I'm expecting potentially to see Titan suits and another ship or vehicle or two also go to straight to flyable or concept and flyable. They like to do this sort of stuff. RSA Mantis, I would expect to go straight to flyable. So at the very least, we'd have an interim patch with CitizenCon, so 3.7.5 sort of thing. Expect to see gameplay of the near future game, so 3.8, 3.9 gameplay. Almost certainly seeing Microtech and Crusader, so new Babbage and Orison there. I would expect to see jump points. Now, that's sort of my expectation based on it makes sense that they're getting jump points in. It makes sense that they want to put the show off the Pyro, or at least that they've got the starts of the Pyro and Nick system done. There was a leak recently where people were like, "Ha! This proves that there's a Nick system. It's going to be the next system they reveal." Well, they've got Dalamar in the standard system, which is actually supposed to be in the Nick system. So it could just literally be that the leak was actually just not a leak at all, and just the name of where Dalamar is supposed to be. And that's the sort of like the way they save it or whatever, because it was a showing off of their sort of like folder structure in a program they were saving while they were doing some modeling and graphics work. So, all the stuff they could show. I'm expecting to see a Squadron 42 trailer, or Squadron 42 gameplay, or Squadron 42 redone gameplay, like the Admiral Bishop speech redone, or the Morotor redone to the sort of like new level, and probably the start of Squadron 42's marketing campaign, which would have a Squadron 42 release date, stuff like that. We'll see a keynote at the beginning, expected to mirror sort of like last year's, where they talk about the pillars of the game and the new sort of like where they've come from, where they've got to, and that sort of stuff as well. And then we'll see throughout the day lots of things like Tony Zorovic talking about NPCs and simulation stuff and gameplay mechanics and some of the cool stuff they've got in game, some of the physics stuff they've got in game, all that sort of stuff. And then if you're there, then there's going to be even more cool stuff too. Gravy and biscuits. Biscuits and gravy. We don't really have biscuits and gravy in the UK in the same way that... biscuits and gravy, no, scones and cream and jam, scones, whatever they're called. Come to Yorkshire. Have it as a donation goal. I'm thinking of moving to Salisbury at the moment, away from London. You've got to be worried about the Novichok when you go to Salisbury. Got my CitizenCon ticket, just need to book the hotel. Last time I was there, I used the Droys Inn right next to the venue. I'm going just down the road in the vibrant gay quarter of Manchester, I believe. There's a hostel or hotel just there that's got really, really high reviews. And I was like, oh, bargain, great. Although one of my friends, Harbinger, has invited me to also go to their Airbnb, so I'll work out what the most sensible thing to do. I need to see if my mate Sam, who I haven't seen for a while, who lives in my hometown, wants to come. And if he does, then we'll probably stay somewhere together or whatever. Board, come to the US so we can drink beers together. It would be a very long journey, Dapper Dave, to get to the US for a drink. Although at some point I always certainly will be in the US. I haven't really gone anywhere outside of Europe, so. What happened to the Astropub? He's alright, isn't he? I haven't talked to him in the last week, admittedly, or two. I hope Paul's okay. Shall I have a look? I'll after this stream, I'll check on him. Why is Orison more complete than new Babbage? Let's have a look at it in the roadmap, because I don't have to respond to that. But one of the things is because I didn't know the percentage completed. Let's have a look. So we've got the Orison landing zone, and we've got the new Babbage landing zone. The Orison landing zone is significantly more task complete than the new Babbage landing zone. That is correct. So, I don't know, because there's been more work done to this. So both of these, I would expect, are getting work mainly due to them going to be shown at CitizenCon. That would be my expectation. A lot of these tasks should be significantly smaller tasks. It could be cloud tech based, it could be planet based, it could be that they've just worked on the architecture and that's much easier to do, or it could be that the team's making more progress than expected, or whatever. So that's why it's made more progress, because it has. But I would expect to see them both at CitizenCon, the Orison landing zone and the new Babbage landing zone, even if some of the parts are faked. And new Babbage as well has got 2 versions, so the 3.8 version isn't as in-depth as the version 2 they were getting in 3.9. You miss the old community of streamers. What do you mean? I still talk to some people. I do need to get more involved with people again. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah. I miss is it Neotekio? Is it Neotekio? I at least like him. Go on very well with him. Who else? Most of the other ones are still around, aren't they? Well, they're not. Who knows? But I will get more involved back with Twerk and Saurus and whoever the fuck else is around at the moment. Maya and people. Will the Ballista fit in the Taurus? No, it will not. I believe the physical inventories will be a huge game changer. Yes, I totally agree. It will require CIG to fix pressurized environments. Yes, so it's going to be moving towards then making sure the room system also works, and then also moving on to physical components as well. Thank you very much, Elfwin. Appreciate your bits. I will shower myself in them. Perfect. Oh my god! I didn't fucking know I had this on. What is this? What is this? I don't know what fucking settings I've been clicking on, but apparently some stuff's landed on my head. I didn't even know what that was. It was like a fruit bowl. Thanks. Appreciate it. But yes, physicalized components as well as obviously make massively important other than physicalized inventories. Physicalized inventories just deals with player inventories, and then you have to, well, it's not just player inventories, it's also the ability to store things on ships, in hangars, in your hubs. Yeah, massive game changer. Also leads on to loot, so you can actually loot items from people. And also, I suppose, leads on to being able to sell those items and them having a physical presence, whether that's sold at the black market or whether that's sold to a proper shop or whatever. When are they going to add a wormhole? So they're having jump points, which I suppose are pretty similar. Maybe unstable jump points will be known as wormholes. Or wormholes might be a term for just jump points that just take you within the same system. Long distances, if that's the thing that's going to exist. I would expect to see jump points, though, even if they're faked or just sort of like the start of them, at CitizenCon this year. When Star Citizen's graphics are gold by the time the game gets released, without a massive update and rework, I expect it to be released about 5 to 10 years from now. So, Star Citizen will adopt technology and bits and bobs that's sensible as they go along. I don't expect it will look particularly outdated or anything. I mean, when they get closer to release, they'll optimize significantly more heavily for that. So they'll be able to scale stuff up. And they've been working on tech and stuff so that it is pretty scalable. I mean, they might adopt ray tracing eventually, but we know they're going to have Vulkan integration, and we know that they're going to have stuff that's significantly more scalable and not more optimized in the future. And there's a huge amount of stuff that for polish and for the way the game looks and lighting and stuff that just isn't going to look amazing until they get to that last sort of like polished stage. Or at least, actually, until they release Squadron 42 Episode 1, and then the engine supports that fully, and they have it ready, and then they can put it in the persistent universe. So maybe, by the end of 2020, you'd have some pretty good looking Star Citizen, which will hopefully be even more upscalable as time goes on. But expect Star Citizen to constantly be supported, so they will constantly update the lighting, update the graphics as best they can. I just expect it to get more scalable, to an extent. How long will my victims survive after I've lured them into a gaping maw of a sandworm? Long and painful death, or slow and quick? We don't know how stuff like that's going to work. I suspect maybe you can get trapped in things like that, but I suspect they would instantly kill you if they nommed you up. Thank you very much, Freak Corp. Very much appreciated. I am very much looking forward to animals in game, aliens in game, proper animals and proper aliens, not fake ones, not little insects, but dangerous animals that I can hunt or that will hunt me, that will get involved in gameplay, that are part of missions, that I can capture for pets, all that sort of stuff. How long will my... that's what I just read. Please ignore my question about Astrobob. I thought he'd stop streaming. My bad. No worries. It's like, I'm sure he was fine. He asked me... I was talking to him the other day. What should we expect from NPC shopkeeper improvements in 3.7? What about long term? So they have been working on the social AI for a while. So bartenders, shopkeepers, civilians, improving that AI, but also getting all these new animations and mocap in. So the idea here is that they'll be walking around the shop, they'll be a bit more interactive, they'll have to have a load more voice lines and sort of like more hand signals and gestures and be a bit more appropriate to what's going on around them and be interactive with other customers and not just sort of be dead behind the counter. That's the idea, and that's the idea for all sort of social AI. Civilians as well in general, they're more likely to be walking around and being able to interact with NPC shopkeepers as well, and bartenders. Long term, just expect that to get better and better and better. That's all I can really say without knowing exactly what they've got planned in what order. Oh, for fuck's sake, Robert Johnston. I've just seen... Why didn't I see that giant... Oh, God. Robert Johnston might ask you a small favour soon, Bored, but until then, fuck off. He says feck off, but I know what he means. Thank you very much for the ridiculous amount of money, Robert Johnston. Genuinely happy to help you. Even if it's not easy for me to help you for some reason, I will still go out of my fucking way to do so. I say go out of my way. You've donated so much money to my channel that I would feel, you know, indebted to you. And I'm easily bought, very cheaply, as the Matadors know. That was a joke. That was a joke. But thank you very much, Robert Johnston. I genuinely will hopefully be able to help you. And yeah, to be honest, if anyone needs help with kind of anything when it comes to Star Citizen, or they want to talk about mental health or whatever, if it's just starting up a channel or whatever, and if you get on my Discord, you're more than welcome to throw me a message. I'll start up a sort of like section about community help, and I'll get involved with that. I am starting to, and thank you for the people that have actually helped me already. We are starting to use the Discord now during the day. If people are around, I do B-roll recording sometimes. This will start a lot more in earnest from Monday. So if you're around on the Discord, bam, play some Star Citizen. I'll be recording. I probably won't use the audio, but I might if it's a great little clip or something. And that will be for my new B-roll. I've got my 2080 Ti, so I can record. It looks like I can record in 60 frames 4K in Star Citizen. How's the graphics and speed and everything here? Does it look alright? I'm fucking around the settings. Little stuff as well. Thank you very much for the bits. Very much appreciated. Oh, Robert Johnston, I'm so sorry they didn't see that earlier. I'm the worst. Are we expecting a wipe when 3.6.1 goes to live? So try not to use terms PU and PTU interchangeably. Try to use the term PTU and live. So PTU, public test universe, PU, persistent universe, live. Yeah, so the persistent universe exists in both the PTU and live builds. Bam. Huntress asked me to do a video on that a while ago, and I did, to sort of like for her amusement. She's my head mod and a fucking amazing person. Someone I hope that I can help out in the future, because she effectively does free work for me and then gives me money as well. So, you know, they're the best kind of fans and viewers. But yeah, don't know where I was going with that. But 3.6.1 wipe, there is a potential for that, yes. And basically CIG have said the same. Maybe is the problem. We don't know. I would always expect a wipe with any given patch, but not 100%. Anyone know of a replacement for Game Glass? Can't run it on my tablet, too old. I did see a couple of other people doing free ones in the interim, and I think some people use not Razer. What's the other company? Not Razer. Two Mice. There's a couple of other things. That the thing with Game Glass is that it's very bespokely built and focused on Star Citizen at the moment. They are adding support for other games as well. So like Elite Dangerous is next. But it's going to continue to get more support for Star Citizen, and it's going to continue to get more and more functionality for Star Citizen. And that's the sort of stuff that I like, because I want stuff to work well. I'm going to turn down the music very slightly. I want the Mercury Star Runner so bad. I would expect to see bits on the Mercury Star Runner from the towards the end of the year. I suspect they'll start working on it. Do you know if the character will be released in Q4? Maybe. That's the plan. It's planned to be released in the 3.8 December release of Star Citizen in 3.8. Might not be, but that's when it's planned. I would also expect to see it at CitizenCon, potentially partly faked. Question, will modules be exchanged between ships? For example, will a medical bay that goes in a Cutlass also work in a Caterpillar? They have the same manufacturer. Almost certainly not. Modular rooms with stations and stuff will be bound to the hulls and variants of ship. However, there might be flare items and pianos and chairs and worktops and some functional equipment that may be able to be moved around to any ship that has room for them. RSI Mantis is supposed to be a heavy fighter, and it probably will be straight to flyable at CitizenCon. This is from a leak that SC Leaks had. I don't have a source for that beyond them. 30 meters, heavy fighter, RSI, straight to flyable. I think it's CitizenCon. That's all I know about it. Some thoughts on the Vulcan and gameplay that this ship is made for. Also a little... when will we see anything in this direction? Also a little... What? Vulcan, we need drone gameplay. I'm expecting to see drone gameplay in the not too distant future. Drones are going to be semi-remote, semi-automated. So you can use drone consoles to control drones, but they should also be able to be given tasks and be able to automatically do simple function like refuel, rearm, and repair after you've told them to go to a target. You also be able to take direct control of them and do like scouting or move them in a particular way or whatever. So they need to develop AI for that. They need to have that all sorted. There was going to be the small drones last year. They sort of like were working towards them. So I suspect that the AI for that isn't too far out. I also suspect that drones are needed for Squadron 42, but getting it into the persistent universe might be a bit more tricky. I would expect to see the Vulcan next year at some point. I just don't know when. Maybe the Q3 release next year? Something like that? They use real actors in the trailer, or did they just do it? So, in the trailer, so they've got full mocap of Gillian Anderson, of the Onion Knight. I can't fucking remember his name. Mark Hamill, Henry Cavill, Smeagol. I can't remember the fucking names. They all left my head and just fucked off as soon as you asked the question. They're all actors that they got. There's a huge A-list celebrity sort of like cast in the game for Squadron 42. So, yeah. Oh, Gary Oldman. There's a huge amount of A-list celebrities in the game. And they are really those actors, and they are real mocaps of those actors, and then they've been brought into the game. So, something I'm very, very much looking forward to. Squadron 42 is it's sort of a crossover between a movie and a video game, and Wing Commander, and it's proof of whether or not they have a correct vision for what games can and should be, and largely whether they can make more successful games, and whether Star Citizen's going to be a good indicator of whether that's going to be good as well. Although Squadron 42 is a lot more cinematic experience. It's got those A-list celebrities in. It's got a lot of sort of like narrative storytelling that's very much more on rails than Star Citizen will be. Star Citizen will be much more of an MMO. So it's a litmus test, but it's not a cure-all. It's definitely going to be the best game ever if Squadron 42 is great. Squadron 42 was great, but Star Citizen is an MMO and a different game. So based on the same engine and the same universe and all the same tech, but are there any updates on the Apollo and medical gameplay? Nope. Beyond, we know that in the not too distant future we'll be able to jab people with the Medipens, and that will give them a little boost. We'll be able to get them up or whatever. We'll be able to drag people, and soon they'll be opening up hospitals, I believe. But that will be like as a respawn location. How long have I been streaming? 53 minutes. In 8 minutes' time, we are going to switch over to Star Citizen Live, and we'll do a watch party for that. Power grid, that's what I was thinking. It's discontinued, is it? Okay. Yeah, so I think we'll see star systems, new star systems. I think we'll actually start to see them in game next year. But I think we'll see Pyro and or Magnus at the same time, and we'll see Nyx, and then they'll be working their way to get to the Odin system, because the Odin system's in Squadron 42, and is going to have a large portion of it already completed. And that makes sense, because then you have the Vandal over there by the Odin system, and you have the sort of like more pirates, and you'd have pirates and Odin system as well. But then you have the sort of like more UBE stuff over here, and then you actually would have the UBE military forces over in Odin potentially as well. Whose emote is that? 3.7 hype one. I like that. Oh, that's nice. You're torn between the Carrack and the Star Runner. I'd go for the Carrack. I love the Carrack. The Star Runner is reasonably high on my list, but Carrack is just much higher. It's one of my favourite ships. So. Would it be a good idea to start a Star Citizen Uni page, as there seems to be no up-to-date tutorials for new players? HUD, ship colours, interdiction, insurance, updated as the patches come out. I maintain a reasonably accurate guide list. My last major guide was on 3.5 for new players. The only thing that's updated from there is the lore system with interdictions and stuff, and the hover mode stuff, and potentially hacking as well, which I've all done separate videos on. So I've sort of maintained that. Yeah, Star Citizen Uni as a website is a good idea, though. I would expect to see lots more tutorial sites come up. I'll probably maintain one in the future as well. What do you expect in 4.0 and further? The starts of new star systems, potentially finishing off the Stanton system entirely. Lots of new ships. We'll start to see all the tech from Squadron 42 finished coming over as well in 4.0. We could see, if it's not already in, server-side object container streaming and full persistence, so the start of less resets or no more resets. Potentially server meshing if server-side object container stream is already in there, though that's likely to be further out, even the first stage static one. Stream has become self-aware. What's going on? Water physics issues? Question mark. I don't know. I know they're doing swimming and water. They're doing water physics stuff. They are doing swimming. What's the plan? Will there be random encounters? Yes. And so there's the dynamic mission system, which they're starting to put in for 3.8 onwards. The idea is that the whole universe is simulated, and people taking missions, NPCs taking missions, the economy, everything that's bought and sold, everything that's delivered from one place to another, it is all sort of calculated. There's populations on planets which are simulated, which use resources, people losing ships, people buying things, all simulated in the system. And if people are repeatedly getting killed, or if commodities aren't getting from one place to another, this will affect everything that's going on. If there's a pirate or lots of PvP going on, there's going to be missions to go out for bounty hunters to go and take them down and that sort of stuff. So there's all this sort of stuff that builds the mission system, the dynamic mission system. But part of those missions that you're going to be taking, they're going to be made of lots of different modules. So you're going to have modules where or parts of these modules where it's beginning, middle, end, whatever, and lots of in between traveling, whatever. On your travels in between going to locations, you might get distress signals, you might detect signals, you might get interdicted by pirates, you might a shooting star or an asteroid might get in your way, whatever. Then you can choose to stop, or you might get forced to be stopped, whatever. You might get commed. People might call you and say there's something going on. There are also these missions, even if they're delivery missions, they might end with someone trying to rob you at the end, or they might end up that it was a dangerous creature that you had in your box and it's got loose on your ship, and there could be lots of different stuff like that. And the idea is that even very similar sounding missions might be vastly different because they've got this sort of like dynamic element to them, where they're made up of loads of different modules and you're not really sure how it's all going to end. But it keeps on branching out. It's sort of the idea. So yeah, there will be random encounters and events because of that as well. And there'll be just random encounters even now in game where, you turn up and there's pirates fighting a security force guy in 3.6. But 3.6, I can't spool anymore. Any ideas why? Try turning off your ship and turning it back on. Try getting slightly closer to where you're trying to spool. Those are the typical ways that I fix my spooling drive not spooling. I look away, then look back up and turn on or off my ship, get out of my chair, go back in. With more ground happening, do you have any idea when we will get C4 and laser telemetry targeting? So they actually talked about this in the Ballista Q&A recently. They said there will be ways of targeting things on the ground and sharing targeting information so that ships, so that the vehicles like the Ballista could target and fire up to 10,000 meters with their missiles, and potentially even longer. So at the moment, there's 10,000 meter range-ish on the passive detection of the Ballista, but if you painted a target, if you were sharing telemetry data, bam, it could shoot a lot further, as far as the missiles could shoot potentially, or as far as that information could be received. So we're getting it at some point. I don't know when. C4, yeah, there's supposed to be salvage charges. There's supposed to be C4, or at least ways of breaching into people's ships and bases and doors and stuff. We're getting that at some point, including deeper hacking and other ways of breaking in. But again, don't know when. What have we got? So Star Citizen Live is about to go live. Let's quickly run through, see if there's any more questions. Like, well, I don't answer the questions particularly fast, I suppose. Bam. Going to begin shortly. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to enjoy watching it. Tell me what the audio's like. Can you hear me over that? Do you want me to lower my voice or the audio on screen, or raise them both, or whatever?
Hi everybody, welcome to Star Citizen Live Mission Features. I'm your host, Jared Huckabee, and joining us on the show this week, we have three esteemed luminaries from our Mission Features
Luke Presley,
team
love
out
his
of our
face.
Winslow, UK, Europe. I'm just trying to stack that up. Studio. We got Luke Presley, Gareth Bourne, and Elliot Maltby. Am I saying that right?
Yes,
I should have asked beforehand, but I got it. I'm usually terrible at pronouncing names. How you guys doing? Thank you for my...
Great, thanks.
The BoredGamer.
All good.
Inebriation will be a thing.
Ever watching Star Citizen Live, welcome to the show. This is where we go live each and every week and we discuss or showcase some aspect of Star Citizen's development. We do everything from VFX to props to one time we even had the IT guys on the show. Our Friday broadcast is our chance to do a long-form illumination on all the various aspects of video game development, generally the ones that don't get covered by most other game studios or game projects. So I'm generally really happy to have every team we possibly can on the show each and every week. And today we have a Q&A with our Mission Features team. Now, before we get into who you are and
that wasn't what I was expecting.
If you had to break down, if you had to describe what Mission Features are and what a Mission Features team does, what can you tell us?
Well, we
wasn't expecting at all.
Usually narrative first off to kind of get a feel for locations. Cool. Like a location can be planet or even a whole solar system.
You'll have to pay for drinks at a bar probably, and they can make you drunk. Inebriation is going to be a thing with the below status.
Work with that to try and figure out which gameplay suits them. Sometimes we get a mission giver come in, and so we work with them to figure out what this mission giver.
Luke's incredibly important, the guy that's talking. He got
then we go away, we design them.
The salvage yards in, the black market gameplay in.
What features we have available at that moment. So, yeah, and then we actually build them, prototype them. There are many different steps in that, depending on how complex the mission is. Does it have dialogue? That kind of thing. And then we polish and test it, and watch you guys play it and learn from that.
We don't know
I know.
how live players are going to be stored in for bounties.
this
We
happens
suspect
to
they
many
become
developers.
NPCs when
You guys know
they get
exactly-
caught.
You guys are watching videos and streams, you know, to actually see how the players are interacting with the missions. We have lots
Maybe
of
not
tools for
parachutes in
feedback. We
game,
have
but some
Spectrum,
way of
we have
surviving
Reddit,
ejecting in
we
atmospheres
have,
is a
our
thing.
own
Maybe
issue forum,
parachutes,
which is
though.
a fantastic way to submit bugs and have them validated. But there's also, but that's all stuff that comes to us. We also go out and view, you know, YouTube videos and Twitch streams and
we have analytics.
Space
as well.
Rice confirmed,
We can
Jack.
see what you're doing as well, and our tools are getting better and better at that. As well. We can
They
see
can
things,
see what you're
real
doing.
time now.
it sounded incredibly ominous.
Can we get more fruit in your head? No.
We know what you're doing.
It's very useful, though. It's a good thing.
Yeah. So,
I
Gareth
like
and Elliot,
Jupiler
members of
and
the
Asahi.
team, tell us a little bit about
The
who
beer.
you are and what you're working on these days.
So,
Frame rates
I'm a
between
senior life
30
designer,
and 120.
At the moment,
Depends on what area
I'm
we're in.
working on caves, but I've done all sorts.
Typically more sort of like
checker mission,
50 to 100.
planet-side locations, lots of things.
Clovis's mission.
Clovis's mission. I'm usually the guy that ends up.
Mission giver man.
Yeah, I'm the mission giver man quite often, and I'm also the location man.
Giver man. No. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And Elliot, how about you?
I'm new. I'm a junior live designer, and when I started here, I was given the brand new building block system that Zane was on Star Citizen Live earlier talking about, and I'm exploring sort of what that can do for our missions and setting
We run
up.
about
So
shit,
some of the
sort of
things I have
freelancer?
done is the criminal database screen that's in Korea and the UGFs, and the com array screen, including the minimal viable product hack as well.
Gotcha.
I know what you're working on.
Oh, and currently, I am prototyping and exploring other uses for screens to do with the law system.
Gotcha.
You sound a lot more polished than me. You've been practicing that.
Yeah.
Is working particularly on the fine kiosk.
Yes.
And where you go and pay off your fines rather than be charged.
Yeah.
And it taken out straight away.
So the player has the choice of if they
The
want.
fine kiosks, they're good.
Gotcha.
They're
So you're
perfect.
working on, it sounds like you're working on.
Is there a
fines,
notable
you're working
difference in
on,
Star Citizen 32
hacking.
gigs around instead of 16?
Elliot, you're
No.
working on
No, there's
you know,
not.
cave implementation, and Luke,
There used to be, but it's not anymore.
what are you doing? Everything.
Managing all the things I can't talk about.
Fair enough. So to submit questions for
We can do some cargo
proposed to our
teaming up,
developers here on
Timber,
Star Citizen
at
Live,
some point.
you
Yeah.
can submit your questions in
If
one
you're
of
on the
two places,
Discord when I'm
either
around,
live on the
then
Twitch channel,
we'll do that.
as it's going on now.
As
or
said,
on
from Monday
Steam,
onwards.
Our communications platform on the robertspaceindustriescom website. You thought I was going to say bespoke long-time viewers. and
New
stopped
win.
myself.
I
You
think
see that?
less
People are like,
larger
"Hey,
ships, if you've already got store credit, is better than lots of
So
small
when you submit
ships.
your questions, please preface your question with the word question.
So I hope
in
that answers
capital
your
letters
question.
surrounded by brackets.
Yes,
It's
get
gonna
the
help our
flowers.
community management team pull it out from all the other conversation that's going on. Additionally, we also put up a thread on Spectrum earlier in the week to start collecting questions for folks who maybe couldn't be here live and allow folks to vote them up to see which questions they wanted to see answered most. So while questions are coming in today, we're going to start with some of those pregame questions that came in throughout the week. Right off the bat, when will we be able to share missions with people in the same party so we can all
yeah.
benefit from the payout? We know that's a request that.
Come
players
on,
have been
give me
looking for a
3.7.
long
3.7, come on, come on.
Straight in with a when question.
Yeah.
Okay. So good news actually
Oh,
on this.
Give me 3.7. Come on.
We had to design.
Earlier.
It entailed some UI and some support from maybe groups and that, and we realized that it wasn't going to get done quickly enough. Obviously, we know how badly you guys want this, and we want it. Like, we've been kind of working around this in various ways, with like kind of cooperative missions and stuff. But we had our me and my coder. We looked at the design and tried to simplify it back down to what we could deliver quite quickly and easily, and we managed to get something earlier this week that was really promising. And Ed Fuller, my principal designer, he did an audit of all of our missions that he just finished today, and he came to the conclusion that it would be easy for most of them. Some of them do need some work, like, for instance, like in the example is like race missions. So you can share this mission with everyone else. Only the mission owner can pass through the checkpoints. Otherwise, I could share this with everyone, and they could be at every single checkpoint and instantly finish the mission. So there are like obviously some missions have edge cases like that we have to catch, but we're like straight off the bat on Wednesday when he showed us this, we were able to share a
Give me
delivery
time.
mission.
Come on, Luke.
Now, like certain things straight away didn't work, but we've managed over just the course of 2 days to get that up and running. So I can't answer when exactly.
Oh, you're
I
a
think
monster.
it will be more of a kind of rolled out mission by mission as we can convert them. Yeah. But this is it's so promising. We were so happy at the start.
Potentially rolled out in batches of missions.
You're happy about, 'cause you
Yeah.
Maybe 3.7. Who
A
fucking
lot of
knows?
refactors, like obviously we've got to do a refactor of our missions for server streaming and things like that. So yeah, they're great. They apparently with server streaming on, like it's night and day. It's like object container streaming all over again, the speed and stuff. So that's great, but it is a bunch of work we've got to do.
When are they going to add solid PvP to Star Citizen? It will be iterative.
It's a refactor that
After Squadron 42
benefits
Episode 1,
make
because
everyone happy.
solid PvP requires balance and proper combat and proper
important
flight.
to remember, and I don't know if this always apparent.
The Star Runner is tied to data running role.
That
I don't know about his
the
computers being
types of
swappable
missions
or not.
that are available in any given patch are.
But it will be able to
dependent
cargo
on a
run
whole
and
lot
data
of other
run.
game systems being online and working correctly and being fully implemented. Some of the questions that are going to come later on have to do with can we have this type of mission? Can we have this type of mission? Or why don't
Expect to see lots and
quite
lots
often that's simply because,
more vehicles,
where
all-terrain
missions are
vehicles, hover
downstream
vehicles,
dependent
lots of stuff.
Other game features.
And then to
So
fix
things
further
like
the rovers and stuff.
The mission sharing, it's like that when people ask, why would you have to refactor something, or why didn't you just make it this way the first time? That's part of running a game in open development.
Hawk's
is
cool,
we're
but
working with other
Arrow's
teams,
better
we're
at the
working
moment.
with the systems,
No
and the
bounty hunting,
resources that are
actually picking up
available to
players,
us that have
yeah.
been developed, that are tested and implemented at that time as we go through each patch.
Yeah, there is a danger.
AI
that
crew
you could
timeline
make,
progress,
Like, too many missions to actually maintain. Like for instance,
We need them to finish off the NPC
back years ago
and AI
now,
stuff for
before
Squadron 42 first.
3.0 or even 2.0. We built all of our missions in Flowgraph that came with
1080 Ti over
we
two
had, like,
1050
so
Ti's, yes. 1080 Ti.
all that had to go when
all
we
the
went
way.
into subsumption. All of those missions that like it looked like carried over were completely recreated, and some were lost. And then we've gradually built up to surpass that now. But there is a danger that you go too wide, and the moment we have to do a refactor like this, it takes forever.
Yeah, you have to develop responsibly. We don't want to put in too much stuff that we know we have to redo later down the line. So you try to thread that needle.
I'm assuming that with mission sharing, that it will be
we have new gameplay and new missions.
the same stuff they use for dynamic missions.
While we
So it's
still
all part of the pipeline.
The amount of work that we have to redo later down the line.
How likely are we to get a ground-based EMP vehicle? We already have one.
We'll work through the procedural
Cyclone
generating
AA.
system. Does CIG plan to have fully handmade story missions in the PU in addition to all that PG content?
Yeah, we totally plan to.
Handmade,
especially when it comes to
Arc Ride missions.
like mission givers, really making those guys stand out as special and putting that effort in there.
You're special.
Mission chains for them as well. Like we really want to start focusing now.
Nomad, you should be able to play Star Citizen even with
like
a connection like that.
organisations within the
but,
game that you work for and you build a reputation with.
You might not be able to
and
like
that
play
reputation
competitively 1v1
turns
dogfighting
into,
at the highest level.
Different missions for them, and in working for one like mission giver, you can actually accrue negative kind of reputation with another.
Yes, I expect 3.6.x to have ship rentals. Yes.
So yes, we really do want to get into that. I believe like you may have a question. I've been reading through the page about like the PI wanted mission and whether we'll have more missions like that. That's the closest I can think to a story kind of mission, and still that is quite quite basic.
Watch party
we'd really
time.
like.
Oh, I love you,
to
Huntress. I was talking about you earlier, so now awesome.
notion of
Fucking love your face.
there's a big
Thank you very much.
one big strong story.
Thank you very
arc,
much, Unforgettable Foreigner,
in
as
this
well.
Station,
I'll never forget you.
Station. And
Becoming a member
when you
on my
go,
YouTubes.
you go
Appreciate
there to
it.
do that one thing.
Fucking legend.
And then on the way you find, oh, there's also this smaller arc and this smaller arc and this, you know, and then
Lots of
once
mission
that
arcs.
big main mission's done, you've actually unlocked a lot of more procedural missions, so that we haven't just built this entire location and set it up for one specific mission. I mean, Elliot's been looking into like what we can do to maybe take the PI Wanted mission as a basis and learn more about the building blocks and what we can do there. If you want to expand.
So we've been looking into
Expand!
It. We wanted to make more of a web, so it can be sort of harder for the player, but you know, if they use their investigating skills to the best of their ability, they'll be able to hopefully find it. We want to throw in sort of extra things like as you're doing it and you're finding information, you get contacted by someone who's saying, we need you to throw these people under the bus and we'll pay you more than the original mission cost. So then you've got moral choices in there and moral dilemmas and stuff, and more choices, and sort of we're looking at other ways we can sort of improve it, because right now there's
I'm okay with the carrot coming with the
and we're looking
Anvil
at
Rover.
systems we can use to make it more immersive.
The Ursa Rover, not an Anvil Rover. I'm okay with that.
And things like that.
Yeah, you've been looking at like email systems and using the building blocks tool, so you can actually go through and like figure things out. We can give you enough information that you can.
Do you think there'll be another PTE
build,
patch before
like,
the end of the day? Yeah, very
which
possible.
Information you actually hand in at the end. So as you said, like maybe there's someone gets in touch and says, "I will pay you more money if you frame this guy," or "I will pay you money if you make this guy look
And when
innocent."
21 blisters really sit on the rubber deck of an Idris.
You have all that
Surely
information.
the lack
that you
of
can
gravity
then,
plus rubber would
like,
do
move into
its thing.
file before
There's
you
gravity in that
submit.
hangar.
And,
Gravity generators.
And that itself, like, you can make him look innocent and just kind of hide away the stuff that proved he was guilty.
You're throwing people under the bus. I was just.
You want them to look at me?
Right, Elliot? You're not confirming bus gameplay.
Oh no! No buses, no throwing.
Well, we have buses. We do have buses.
Stop drinking so much Red Bull Coca.
The
Third Red Bull of the day. You're a monster. One will take me out for a
at least
weekend.
From my anecdotal observation of the community, seems to be a very popular mission amongst the Star Citizen community. So I think folks will be excited to hear that we're
Appreciate all the
considering
subs.
that as
Very
like
much
a basis
appreciated.
to move forward. So like that. Gareth, you said caves. When caves do eventually come
doing
online,
research
what type of,
into Star
missions
Citizen.
are we
I'm not
considering?
messaging any pretty person other than you guys. We're all pretty to me.
Caves, when they do come online, we're considering things like AI combat in a cave. Obviously, that's like a natural one. It's an easy progression. Missing persons. You can imagine someone's gone down into a cave and they've met a rather unfortunate, untimely end somewhere, and you've got to go find them. Mining. Can I talk about mining?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that a thing?
Mining's in the game now.
Cool. Yeah. So mining down in the cave. I just don't want to.
Harvestables is a word that we've said.
Yes.
So
let's just give the caveat that these are things that we're exploring. These are things that we're looking into. Stuff like that.
This is very much in development at the moment. So things like whether the cave is inhabited or uninhabited, previously explored, currently being explored, and all of the sort of opportunities that.
We'll see those points of interest for sort of like.
So.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of
pirates and
traversal
outlaws and others.
in there.
Yeah, they're not going to be.
I think we see animals in there as well.
There'll be difficult, dangerous spaces, dark, mysterious.
Well, we'll certainly learn more about caves as we get closer to whenever the implementation is down the line. Look to things like ISC for that. Along with caves are planetary things. One of the common things that we see.
I've got 112 tabs open currently.
In just casual conversation, are the possibility of planetary-only missions. Right now, we've got a promotion going on for the Anvil Ballista. Shameless marketing plug there.
I expect 3.6 point
focus right now on
whatever patch with ship rentals and the 890 jump
side
by the end of this month. That's what I'm expecting.
I ask often, can we have
I'm the prettiest,
missions
thank you.
that require planet-side stuff, vehicle stuff. What are our thoughts on that? It seems like it would be hard to keep people from using ships to do it anyway.
So, so interestingly, if you remember the Pacheco mission, you're given a vehicle in that.
Right.
So my current thoughts are a similar thing. Like a company wants you to retrieve X resources for them and return it in their vehicle, or some other methods that don't want to use the word force, but encourage you to use a certain vehicle type.
I guess that's the danger there, because I have seen people saying, "Oh, I want to use my own ship in the Pacheco mission," which is completely understandable. Like it was a different mission when we came up with it, that it actually needed you to have a different ship there. But when it comes to, like, as you said, actually, the reason we haven't done them is because most people can just cheat and just use their ship. There's, they're slower. The ground vehicles are slower, and and stuff. So unless we force them to use it, and
ground vehicles will be
arbitrary, the reason.
Yeah, it's like a contextual thing.
Yeah, exactly. So when things like weather comes online, like that will force you to drive. Caves. I mean, we're making caves that have whole, entrances big enough to take vehicles into. So, cave is a great example of why you can't take a ship in.
Ballistas as well. Defenses. Give me defenses that repel ships, so I have to land.
Ship can't fly in a cave. So it's all about the context, about whether we can do it in such a way that you're not questioning it and thinking, why am I?
Yeah, this is contrived.
Yeah, it needs to feel natural.
Or the vehicle's there.
Mining in caves.
Well, that's great. I'll just drive it into my ship and fly it.
Yeah, it's part of why AI works so well in the cave, because you're like, of course I can't fly my ship down here and just torpedo these guys in the face because my ship doesn't fit.
Yeah.
I got 64 gigs of RAM, mate.
It's hard, in a game that wants to provide so much in the way of choice.
Weird, nerdy, smug face.
It's hard to then turn around and then cut so many of those choices out and say you have to just do this and use this to do it, stuff like that. So, Elliot, what ways? It could be anybody, but I'm just saying, Elliot. What ways will we have to pay off fines in the future? Do we always have to go and do it at a terminal, or in person, or can we just wire transfer? Will there ever be? And we'll start with there, and then there's a follow-up.
In the current plan, so far in our tier 1, I guess, we're having actual terminals you have to go to pay off these fines. I'm not sure of any plans in the future to do sort of
wire
transfer of credits.
I'm sure. I know players will be able to transfer money. Well, I don't know that. I assume they'll be able to transfer money back and forth between themselves, which kind of, you asked the question, why wouldn't you also be able to do it this way? We do know we want the kiosks there, like something physical, to allow you to hack it. Go somewhere and be able to do.
You can hack fine kiosks potentially,
a physical object,
or maybe part of missions, or finding data out about players.
Can't speak to other features like money transfers.
Yeah.
But it makes sense if you're able to any point wire transfer money anywhere, then it would make sense, for the fines to be paid that way as well. We always want those physical things.
Yeah. So currently we are working on just having a actual terminal in world that you can go up to and pay off.
But at the moment, fines are automatically deducted.
Korea or the UGF and just.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting point.
Throw the fine under the bus.
Yeah. We would like you to be able to like the difference between the criminal database where all your felonies are kept and the fine terminal where it's more jurisdictionally based. You pay off if you want to pay off your crimes that you've committed in Crusader, you have to go to Olisar or eventually Horizon, and same for all the others. But right now, because like security can't detect you hacking something, and there's a green zone, so no other player can do anything about it. We would like you to be able to hack these kiosks, but right now it doesn't fit. So we're just thinking about just keeping that on the current hackable terminals, Korea and such.
So at the moment,
so you can go in there, and it adds a nice little layer to that, which is do I hack off my felonies first, or do I hack off the things that I really don't want to pay?
Yeah,
You know, and
it's definitely a choice that you have to take seriously.
Yeah. As a follow-up to the being able to transfer money between players, this is the mission feature team. That's obviously not a mission feature. That's just an overall game life
Hacking feature. So
teams are
at
gonna
the
be working on
moment,
that. And we've stated
fines
before in
are
other places
automatically
that
deducted
it's
from your
that we want to
Alpha
implement.
UEC when you commit a crime.
So, moving on, what happens if you don't pay fines? Are there additional penalties?
But there
that
will
go
be
with
these
it?
kiosks that
Let
you
me
have to
just
go to
rack
pay
up
your
the craziest
pay your
amount of
fines.
in the world.
So we've done research into this, and I guess we've come up with a plan. So if you don't pay off fines,
Fine.
they go through certain stages, and if you get to the point where you've not paid it off, and the government is like, you're taking the biscuit now, they'll turn into a unpaid fine felony, it's like fine neglect. You've not paid it, it's elevated, it's serious now, it becomes a felony, which obviously raises the bar more, and you can't get rid of it, and it goes on your record.
Yeah, so the states you were talking about is there's an early payment state, and then a escalated payment state, and then after that there's a certain length of time, at which point you'll, I mean,
Hard to deal with,
so
and his reputational damage as well.
In the next release, hopefully we'll be able to pay fines off at these kiosks. It's a little later you'll be able to be arrested. Fine, you know, because right now
eventually get hunted, wouldn't you?
Yeah, we've got bounty hunters, but we've got lines for the security reminding
We've got
you.
plans for prisons as well.
If they scan your ship and there's nothing on there, they'll still give you that little warning. Okay, but you've got some unpaid tickets, and then they'll fly away. We've got lines for bounty hunters who turn up, and they give you kind of warnings. Like the first one is just a reminder. The second maybe like a shot across the bow, and next time I won't. You know, this won't be a warning. So there's the kind of idea that debt collectors will come out after you as well.
Live chat here. What technology
Debt
are you
collection
most
sounds
looking
amazing.
forward to that will allow you to create some really interesting missions?
Jesus. Question.
I mean, there's technology we already have that we need to just get to the point where it can be used.
Thanks,
in missions,
Dave. Appreciate it. Love your face.
And trading and things like that. So, like, I guess for me, the one thing that we don't have just yet. Oh, there's so many actually. Now I'm thinking about it. Like
you gotta be careful though.
Melee is incredible. I can't wait to punch someone out.
Melee would be really cool.
Localized inventory, so that we can actually put finite things in our pockets.
It's not a flashy one, but I think big trade cargo journeys.
Yeah,
would be really cool. From one box to 200 boxes.
Yeah, it doesn't get me excited about it. I just want to hit someone in the face.
Excites me though. Sure. I'm one of those people.
Just a little wistful question there. Like, it's. We often see and we hear our backers.
I want more boxes. That's what a lovely thing to say.
It's important to realize that, that we're just as anxious for many of these things.
All of it coming together for me.
As our teams around the.
So important for all of the mechanics to come together.
Very hard and very diligently to bring these things online.
I should add actually that like the building block stuff is going to change missions massively. It's changing them now, and seeing that develop in this last 3 months you've been here.
It's really nice because it adds more immersion into the game, because instead of having this sort of, you go up to a terminal and this inner thought pops up and it kind of breaks the immersion that you can actually see a physical button and interact with it.
Yeah, it's a good point. Like the hacking, hacking used to be that you walk up to a screen that had a texture on it and you pressed F and some words came up over it and the texture changed. Simple as that. Now,
we'll have to run clinics and
taken
hospitals and search and rescue and charge people for that.
That you can now select any button on there, and I hope everyone can kind of see that, like, even though it's the first step, just being able to make a mini game on a screen is going to be
and the system's still developing, so all the time I'm getting new tools to play about with, and that gets me really excited.
Yeah, for those of you, this is your first time hearing about the building blocks. We talked about the building blocks with Simon and Zane on this show about 2 weeks ago, and we have a segment with visuals, and you can see more about how that works and how that helps our developers coming up in ISC in 2 or 3 weeks, depending on a couple different factors. So we'll be hearing much more about the building blocks. They're really cool. It's we don't just develop things for you guys, we develop things for us to use.
Most of the stuff up until now has been mostly for them, pipeline-wise and tools-wise. There's a huge portion of the game that's been for devs.
More interesting and easier to do. Let's see, there's the PI wanted question. We'll skip that since we talked about that earlier. Gareth, what are the challenges involved in creating missions for caves? Like finding people in outer space and on the surface is relatively easy, but with caves, like I can imagine you go to a waypoint and then you just hit solid ground and it's like, what? Because they're deep inside a cage. In a cave.
Well, you have to mark their entrances, I suppose.
What are we doing to work with them?
Challenges involved. So I think it comes back around to context again. So if you have AI in a cave, you need to make sure they're not in a place with, I don't know, a bunch of crates where you're like, I just crawled through a tiny hole. How did this guy get his crates in this room?
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously they're procedurally generated. Well, I say obviously, but they will be procedurally generated. So it's making sure that the nature of the connected rooms has an overall context and a flow that makes sense when you're in that space.
Mm-hmm.
And things like finding a missing person, we need to make sure that like he's in a pit, but he's not in a pit at the start of the cave. Well, he could be, but he might be in a pit at the very end of the cave as well. So there's lots of like different places they can be. Or if he's just dead on the floor, he's not dead on the floor in the entrance. It's like making sure that all of these places that can be connected together and form this space have like an overarching context.
Okay.
So if the cave has got AI in it, you don't necessarily want a crawl space at the front, or you don't want a traversal space where they're spawned, because it would be funky stuff would happen at the moment.
Yeah.
Because and stuff like that. It's sort of like making sure that the space that's procedurally generated fits the context of the mission.
Yeah, and when it comes to things like markers, we always have to be careful anyway. Like, I mean, putting the marker on, we wouldn't usually put the marker on the missing person or whatever, because that gives it away, and you get that problem you mentioned.
Probably be
where,
at the entrance to the cave, I'm expecting. Markers.
Where you probably end up putting it on the hole, to guide them for that. But then again, the entrance to the cave. But then again, like maybe that's half of the fun. We have to figure out. To figure out for ourselves, like, oh, actually finding the holes a pain in the backside or something.
Actually, this is really cool. And it's,
markers probably be at the entrance to the cave or nearby to allow you to find it. It's probably a fair statement, isn't it?
There's a lot of challenge in making sure that the space is readable, in that you can understand where it is you're going to go. Because obviously, imagine if you're walking through a cave, you turn into a cavern that doesn't have any natural light source, and you're like, what even is this space? And making sure there's not a hole immediately there, so you've not even had a chance to turn your torch on. You're just instantly tripped up by the fact it's dark.
And that we don't spawn box missions when you can't carry a box out.
Yeah, making sure you can get out.
It's great, to be challenging and have people have to throw the box to be able to climb up. But if you actually make, because of procedural way we build them, if you've made you have to crawl in, then there's no way you can get that box out. Yeah,
it's kind of like level design challenges.
It's good that they're actually thinking about
it's one of the reasons
the basics like that, because some shit, let's go, no, it's in the procedure system. Spawns loads of boxes bigger than the holes.
Like some other games. Here's a question from the live chat. What are our thoughts about PvP missions?
They're great.
We love them.
Yeah. I mean, especially now, because our AI is developing, it's really nice to be able to pit players against each other. I don't think we do a good enough job of saying this is a PvP mission. So
they're good as an option, but we need to make sure they're not.
We need to make sure that people aren't lulled into, thinking that this is a PvE mission and get attacked by a player. But that's the game. That is the game. You can get attacked for no reason, nothing to do with the mission. It was just you were there at the wrong time. But we build missions in a way that bring players together. That can lead to PvP.
That bring players together.
We don't always pit players against each other. I always give the
I agree.
Space wreckage or the derricks on the ground as an example. In the those missions have those locations have about 7 missions on them, only 2 of them actually conflict. But when you meet another player, like there's that instant kind of distrust.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
you know,
funny how
everyone
people
kind of
always do that,
freeze,
isn't it? Like-
freeze, and they're like, "Is this an AI? No."
Yeah, I like the idea of
Like, oh, this is
like,
when you've got to find people in
yeah,
caves,
like,
you've got to
so-
find their
so,
last
you
known
know,
location.
like,
That's
we
where it
can't-
marks, and
There's
then
no
you
way we
can
can prevent PvP.
potentially see like bloods or tracks going
You know,
into the
when
cave
we
or whatever.
encourage
That's a
it,
good idea.
We should do so in a fashion that players are aware that that's a risk. But we do. I mean, there's plenty of missions we've made that like pit players against each other. The Clovis one, I think maybe the Clovis one just doesn't seem to appear as often as we'd like, and we need to look into that one. But yeah, I mean, it was a very kind of vague question, but we like them. We're not avoiding them. We're not relying on them too heavily. We tend to do a 1 PvP mission and then a PvE mission and a 1 PvE. So we kind of keep it balanced.
And when we say we can't prevent PvP, we're saying with 100% certainty and stuff. We have things like the law system, and then different star systems will have different levels of criminality and jurisdiction and stuff. There are systems coming online now, being developed and coming online that will discourage piratical actions and stuff like that. But somebody who's determined to do this will just have to face the consequences when they do it. That's the basis of the law system. All right. Hey, Elliot, what's your vision for the future of hacking gameplay? Really, anybody. I said Elliot again, but Elliot.
So we obviously put in the hacking as a basis because, again, the tool was brand new and it's being developed, and we're kind of like testing the waters with what we can do and how we can
that's
utilize
for building
it.
blocks.
That's
right?
for the building blocks, yeah. So after that, obviously there was a lot of feedback on Spectre and Reddit about it that we sorted through and read. Me and Ed Fuller have both been working on sort of ideas and prototypes of what we'd like to do, but we'd like to have it in a way that for the people who didn't really want to engage in it, it can be easy for them, and sort of,
there'll be certain things that are easy to hack, but it's because we designed them to be easy to hack.
But then people who actually want to make, say, hacking a career of theirs, we wanted to give it some sort of depth to the point where they could actually make a career and sort of enjoy it a lot and be, communicating with people. I can hack this for you and stuff like that.
The current sort of hacking stuff was a test for just tech.
Even to the point where we are trying the intent is to try and build something that is or could be PvP. So you could have, someone hacking and someone kind of trying to prevent the hack.
You're both hacking each other.
Yeah, exactly. Or setting up traps.
Yes.
That alert you to the hack, and then you can get in there and with your double keyboard typing.
Yeah.
And
oh my God! Give me 2 keyboards, mate. So many buttons.
So, yeah, we're trying to go deep with it, while at the same time, obviously, keeping it so that when we just want
you should be able to get different types of armor and EVA gear and stuff like that. Some of that might be able to suppress your signature and potentially your identity and stuff like that as well. Yes.
Like what the chips we've introduced now may eventually
what we're expecting for the future.
Relegated to this is like buy your way out of it, because I'm no good at the hacking. I never get it or whatever.
Okay, so
whereas people
hacking chips,
put the time in, can just become fantastic at master it.
Yeah. Can help override, but
please help.
What are thoughts about adding alternative rewards, like stuff that's
the hacking chips won't be essential in the future.
AUEC, but unique items or reputation or
counter-hacking will be a thing.
Anything else?
Sort of, maybe.
We definitely want to do it. It's these things rely on other features that aren't in existence just yet or are being worked on actually. Like for instance, unique items. You need to be able to store those somewhere. you know, like properly persistent habs where where you can own and decorate and things like that.
Persistent habs. Woo!
What was the other one?
Express
Reputation.
myself.
So, as I was saying before, you'll when we focus more on the in-game kind of organizations, companies that you work for, you'll be both going up and down in reputation for those, unlocking new missions. What else could we do?
Naturally ties into receiving items related to them.
Yeah, like we're desperate. Like we've been wanting to do kind of missions that give you uniforms and kind of rent you
cool.
allow you
Loot
to
for
have
missions
ships.
rather than just
It's
money.
what we try to do. Like again, it's only a prototype. What's in the Pacheco mission now that gives you the cutlass, because what we need to be able to tie it into is the actual system that players use right now to let players, party members, open doors and stuff. Because you'll find in that mission.
Thanks very much, Rumors. Love you.
That literally only the person who has the mission is able to fly that ship, as we found out actually in our live playthrough with Detox there. But he couldn't let anyone else fly it, and he didn't have his stick set up, so there was a bit of an issue there. But it's because it's not using the actual system that is in our game. But that system needed to be opened up.
You're about to hack a whole bank unless it's part of a mission, but maybe sort of like some of the UEC terminals or something.
Mission maybe 3 months ago.
Helped us.
We haven't forgotten you didn't bring your Hotas, Detox.
Yeah, fuck you, Detox. No, I love you, Detox. I'm sorry, I love you. Hopefully, he almost certainly will be at CitizenCon.
Some good-natured.
Pretty sure he will be. Assuming he is.
Will there ever be
Maybe I've talked to him already.
that can only be found in the bowels of a cave?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or the bowels of a space whale. Why not?
Moby Dick in space.
Yeah, exactly.
There we go.
Yeah. I mean, who's to say it will be like a full-blown mission giver? Like, but we want these, kind of side mission givers.
Secondary mission givers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. People who live there, people exploring.
Yeah, crazy hermit.
Archaeologist.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Yeah, for sure.
You mentioned the lore team before. How closely do you work with the lore team to provide to develop these missions?
Cool. Also, submission givers. Side missions and that sort of stuff.
I get in at like 10 and leave at 7, because obviously they're in LA, and we have as much crossover as possible. Because it's very rare we have a week where we don't speak to them. Like, that's super rare. It's a day even.
We had a meeting every day.
Yeah, when it comes to this part, obviously we've been putting out a release. No one plays it like they do. Like, we come into like screenshots of like this text is wrong, this is wrong. Like, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, we found that stuff that basically like QA would never figure out, because they know how it's been written, and like we use a lot of procedural text, so there'll be a blank, and a blank, and we have to hook it up to the right thing, and we may have done it in the wrong order or something like that, but it's stuff that no one else would ever catch.
It's really hard to catch things in development in that way.
Yeah, we're never out of contact with them.
Space hobos and crazy hermits confirmed. Yes, Cyberwolf.
Will missions be capable of having multiple paths to proceed with different monetary compensation for each individual path, or not just monetary, but different compensation in general for each different path?
Yeah,
that goes back to Elliot's mentioning of the PI wanted and the branching.
PI wanted, but also like, you did say someone kind of calling halfway through, or you uncovering something halfway through that changes how you want to do it. You realize, you go into this thinking you're being altruistic, and realize that actually, these people are innocent. I shouldn't be gassing or doing something to this.
Whatever it is.
I go in to turn the power off.
So missions may branch while you're on them.
Simple, but
that's cool.
All these people.
Exactly what I wanted from a dynamic mission system.
It changes the story. And I've always been. I mean, I worked on Fable, so I'm all about like the kind of good and evil choices within a single mission.
Don't eat tofu.
Oh, Luke, next time I see you, we are
but,
talking about you working for Peter Molyneux, assuming that...
We definitely do want to do that. That's a more complex mission than we have.
I'm very
currently.
sorry for your loss, Luke.
Going back to the start, that's because what we're trying to build right now is more like the ingredients to a mission. You'll notice our missions aren't super complex. Not at present, no. Like that's because we tend to build the objective first. When we get a new feature, for instance, we build an objective around that.
Base hobos are easy to cosplay. I'm going to go as a cave system.
Like a whole mission. You string objectives together, you get a whole mission. And sorry, I read another question on there that we may or may not get to, but it was
which fable? So it's the next question, isn't it?
Yes, we want
Jared.
branching missions.
Yes, we want branching missions. Yeah.
No, we don't have any more info when medical gameplay is coming beyond the basic sort of stab you with a med pen.
No, yeah. Wasn't there a question about how like players building their own missions or something?
Yes, it's the very next one on the list.
Amazing.
In the past, it was discussed that players would someday be able to generate missions. Is that still the intent?
Yeah.
What am I even
totally.
needed for it? You just do the show. I'm going to go over here.
Off you go. We really want to allow players to do that, and it's because this is the way we're building. As I said before, like we build in objectives, so that a really simple example is the delivery missions. So a delivery mission is super simple: pick up a box, drop off a box.
Behind the scenes, though.
Yeah, behind the scenes, it's not that simple. Yeah,
you'll have some basic medical gameplay coming pretty soon, though.
It's not one mission; it's two objectives: pick up.
Did I have to say your first name?
And we've built those separately. So, for an example, in a mission where you steal a box, you like at first there is a go kill this person maybe, or you know whatever on the front. For now, anyway, we'll go into that. But you do something first. And then at the end, there is the drop-off part of a delivery mission, and we just stitch those together. It's the same part, and we could allow players to take our objectives, stitch them together into hopefully a coherent mission.
Like mission Lego.
Like mission Lego, exactly. Like, and all you have to do then is say what is the thing that you would like picking up and dropping off. I mean, we do it with the service beacons currently, like. It's just a lot more straightforward for like because it's like pick up me, and we always know where you are. Whereas if it's a box, it could be any box, it could be anywhere, and and then what we do is a
more robust contract system with service beacons.
System, like every location,
sort of like evolution of service beacons. That makes sense.
Available.
We need that in game.
That's an interesting one actually. That specific example, like we don't expose currently places like that are illegal and secret and hidden, but you may want something delivered there. So, would you get a marker to it or not? No, you shouldn't really. You should have to have like learned where that is.
Figured it out.
Yeah, exactly before going there. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, it's basically we have all these types of missions that you can build together. Hopefully.
So we will go to Lego missions.
Myself here, like sorry. Next.
Right.
Oh, Jack's gone.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Okay.
for that, I was skipping this one because it comes every show you do, but now you get it. Where's
Right.
Tessa?
Where's Tessa? Right.
Oh.
She's on perforce waiting to be added back into the game. We've got a whole load of new lines we got recorded for her.
Tessa has.
I'm
Tessa
kind of holding
Ballista.
out on putting her back into the game until she gets something worthy of like. Right now we don't have science missions, we don't have scanning missions, and those are the missions she's made for. And I don't want to brought back just for more, combat missions or delivery missions or anything like that. She just deserves better, honestly.
All right, next question. Where's Tessa?
Wow.
In the cloud. she's on the repository.
Lily, you don't want to see what Twitch chat has been like for the last 45 minutes.
He worked on
Any plans to
Fable.
add additional shipwrecks or for investigation missions?
Yeah, I mean, as soon as we're given them, we'll use them. It's not as straightforward as I've had this discussion a lot. Like when the ships break up now, they aren't.
So derelicts are
like
one of
the wrecks that you're walking around.
are one of the last part of the pipeline
they have to
processes.
put a lot more effort
They need to
into
get them in.
making the wrecks.
Yeah.
That you guys are walking around crashed on the ground than just the ones that visually kind of break up in front of you. There's a lot of like collision issues and stuff that you wouldn't see because they're just able to break these things apart. That they then have to do a lot of work to make them like so you can navigate them, and that they hold up when you get that close. So, and our ships are just getting bigger and bigger, and I'll only ever ask for the biggest ship. Like I don't care about the Hornet. I mean, I can't do anything in that,
Can't
you know.
navigate it,
So get me a reclaimer, and you know,
get me a javelin.
like the moment I saw the 890 jump, I was like, that'll look good
That'll look
destroyed.
good then.
Yeah. So, yeah. It's a lot of work for those guys, and obviously they're making the ships, and these ships are just getting bigger and more complex anyway. So
It's a big process.
Yeah, I mean, when I asked, when I was in the UK, I asked the ship team there how many rooms were in the 890 jump.
68.
And they all just kind of looked at me and were like, I don't think we've counted. So Adam Parker went through and counted for him, and he came back. He's like, it has 68 rooms in it, and everybody was like, like,
Making derelicts.
It was funny. It was one of those things that we discovered on our
Points
own
of
because we were
interest or
random,
missions.
questioning us. So there's lots of opportunities for an 890 jump shipwreck.
Dude, we've got some edgy
will
people
give a
in the
little
chat.
bit of a-
It's so edgy!
a tidbit there.
You're entitled to your opinion, dude. No worries.
We are looking into getting FPS combat within Starfarer wreckage now.
Yeah, we need the
and
loot. We need the loot and the
has a
points of
whole,
interest desperately.
Mission within it that we've made to a decent prototype level.
We're iterating upon that kind of foundation of the existing one.
Yeah, like it's big enough to have an entire mission in it. It's insane. Yeah.
Another question about caves. Will we encounter random NPCs in caves? And if so,
Yes.
will they always be hostile, or can we discover other types of NPCs like archaeologists or geologists or something like that?
I think for the first time you see them, there will be hostile NPCs. But for the future, we definitely want, like, I think I sort of alluded to it earlier, but like inhabited caves and caves in exploration. So they would definitely be filled with NPCs of whatever type or class suits those. But first iteration, I'm thinking going for the hostile.
Yeah, I think you just have to realise that we obviously record
Read stuff.
dialogue for all these guys,
Confirmed.
and it's fair enough to do that for like a set for enemies, you know, because they only say so many things. They have their set that they yell at you, whereas NPCs they say different things. If it's an archaeologist, he's going to say something different too.
They have different sets of animations, behaviors.
Exactly, and you know, we're still in development. We don't want to go like too far down a path that involves like actors and cleaning up the mocap and all of that at this point in the game, in the development of the game.
Solid first.
Yeah.
After this, we'll talk very briefly, and then I'm going to go for lunch, but
have
a bit of a chat.
One of the questions from the live chat is asking about mining missions, or rather missions that are specific to the type of profession ship that you would pilot.
Yeah, it goes back to I think something I mentioned previously, which is though these
I would take
exist,
a driving license or something that proves your age,
actually
Yoko.
Accessible to the mission.
For going to CitizenCon, yes.
Just now.
Just so you prove that you can drink. Just so you can prove that you're the person that owns the ticket.
The hooks.
The hooks and
some form of ID.
Like a simple mining
everything
mission
like that will be in the
possibly
FAQ on
take
CitizenCon.
from,
It's on the website now.
The kiosks, for instance. So there's like buy, sell, and then there's another tab on there maybe. that has missions like I need X amount of gold within 10 minutes. Well, 10 minutes is not enough, but a time. And you are left to your own devices to figure out where to get this gold from. And players who have scanned and mined enough may know this and be like, I'm going there, and others
time-based missions, all that sort of stuff might be a thing.
So maybe you have there are easier missions that actually take you to a location, and then we spawn.
This potentially we could have 3.6.1 live for the weekend, but
that we don't.
We'll know later on today.
In your inventory, are they the right type?
Yeah,
a gravload tank, at least a light gravload tank, is a large possibility.
Deposit, I guess. But the same.
I don't like the idea personally.
That would have to be on a
because I
console.
think tanks should be heavier and on the ground, like touching the ground. But
like
something a bit lighter.
The things holding us back is like these trading consoles were built before building blocks, so they're not easy. It's not something that designers can get into and start changing. Now the plan is that they eventually, all get remade in building blocks, and then
not have any other form of like
take some of that pressure off the
Yoko
UI team, and like because what they will do is
I don't drive. I've got a provisional or whatever it is.
UI team a lot. What he does is build a wireframe model, ugly, really bad. No one would want to see it.
Oh, it's pretty
but it works.
Yeah,
it
works.
And that's the important thing. You don't need to make it look pretty.
Like the UI artist kind of, this is kind of how he wants to play it, how it wants it laid out, and like this is the idea of how he wants the player to use it, and then they'll go in and they'll make it look pretty, and it honestly just makes my stuff look
timed missions can be from a player point of view as well. Like if I set up a mission, I might have it needs to be done within a certain amount of time. The time doesn't have to be like a strict limit of 10 minutes, but all missions should have some form of time limit to them to an extent, even if it's like a week.
UI are like
see what I mean?
They have so many other things like on their schedule that just a little like mission thing sometimes we ask for is it's too much for them to do in the time, but we are now free to kind of do it ourselves. They're providing styles.
This was supposed to be about the 890 jump this episode, I just want you to know, but it's not. It's about missions.
Like, I guess it's like building a website, kind of thing. They build the style, and then every box you make looks in that style afterwards. So
it's like main pages.
Yeah, obviously we've done a lot of talking about building blocks. The designers are very excited about this new feature coming online from the UI tech team. Like I said, we'll be covering it in more detail in about 2 or 3 weeks on ISC, so you'll get to see what these guys have been working with and why it's going to, quite frankly, it's not hyperbole to say revolutionize the way that designers get to implement their missions, implement their ship UIs, implement their kiosk UIs, everything. It's going to take a lot of strain off of the UI team and allow designers at all levels on all teams to push forward with a lot of features that everybody's been waiting for. So it's an exciting time. Look for that in coming weeks. Let's see. We're almost out of time. Will we be able to hack the anti-air defensive towers on bunkers? These people don't want to be shot.
Probably. I mean, eventually. The place we want to do it first is the commorays. Like whether it's just kind of create a hole in their defenses so that they have a blind spot to you and maybe your party members, or that you can turn them completely like against the security, their allies. But I'd imagine that's going to be one of the first places we do it. But there's, going into the underground facility, having bypassed them.
Only one galaxy we are aware of in Star Citizen.
Make them oblivious to you is
the moment. There's only one star system, but they've got plans for up to 120.
Sounds cool.
And finally, before we let you go, I know it's Friday. It's late on a Friday. It's the weekend. You guys have put your time.
No, I think they just changed what the episode was about. We'll talk about the 890 again quickly though.
In the simplest form, a lot of them, I shouldn't say a lot, but some of the missions are kind of unreliable right now. A lot of folks are have trouble completing missions. We see comments in the chat about how I've only ever completed the Pacheco mission and stuff like that. What can we offer to people about the current instability that's involved in missions?
Alpha.
Yeah.
Oh, he just said it.
A mission.
He said it. Lynch him.
I think obviously people have to understand
It's an
that
alpha.
a mission is. Yeah, it's core very simple. Like again, with a delivery mission, it's pick up a box, drop it off. But then, in between that pick up and drop off is the game, the whole game. So, if any portion of that game doesn't work at that time, that mission might not work. It might be entirely blocked, or it might be that it's just more of a pain. Obviously, like some of the examples are like boxes disappearing or falling through.
How do you think they should make hover mode better than other than using a toggle mode? So hover mode, just get rid of the flying like a helicopter. I don't want to fly like a helicopter. I'm a spaceship. Just get rid of the pitching forward and moving forward. Just get rid of it. Just use me strafing. Have me strafing and moving slower and more heavy in atmosphere. Done.
To make something
Perfect.
cohesive, but any single part could fall apart on you. And it's easy to make that look like the mission. Like you might think, oh, now the mission's broken, but
thank you very much. I have lost a stone and a half, and I'm losing more weight at the moment. I appreciate it.
You know,
I'm still rotund, but I'm sort of like quite a stocky fellow anyway. I'm a wide boy. Even if I lose loads of weight, I'll still be pretty wide.
But it could be anything.
Well.
Sometimes it is just.
I like you.
Could be the mission.
Now,
Nibiru.
that said,
Like you.
Teams
420 me.
all these teams are working very diligently to resolve these bugs, resolve these issues. 361 is currently on the PTU in open testing. The first thing I noticed with regards to Gareth...
Get rid of being a helicopter. I'm not a helicopter. Don't want a helicopter. Unless I want to buy a helicopter.
Slide along the floor. I haven't seen that in a while, so we are making progress on that. Teams all around the world are working on that stuff. So as the game becomes more stable and as features become more fully fleshed out and more developed, then the wonderful consequence of that is that the missions will begin.
If the tonks needed for the Squadron 42, then there's a potential it could be released later this year. If not, it'll almost certainly be next year.
The more reliable they become, the more confident in pushing the boat out, kind of thing, pushing the envelope, that we'll get with that as well.
It's like the natural course of things.
Yeah.
So everybody remember, you can do your part, get into the PTU, help us test, use the Issue Council. Issue Council is an amazing tool where you can help us track down bugs, verify bugs, get them escalated in priority through the number of reports and stuff like that. We are in development together on this, so we all want a stable and fun gameplay experience for Star Citizen. So,
and we read those.
Yeah, we do read those.
We do read those.
Yep. All right, Luke, Gareth, Elliot, thank you for your time here on the show today. I know I always feel kind of guilty asking people to stay late on a Friday, but I think
Jared,
if I can,
not too bad.
If I can speak for the folks watching, I think they really enjoyed the show today. So thank you so much for the candidness of your answers. And we'll be back next week with another episode of Star Citizen Live. So thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Fantastic. Boom. Perfect. So, I do want to go for dinner in a minute, but we'll talk very briefly about what they talked about there. So they were talking about mission features. So Luke Presley is one of the guys that gets everything into the live build of the game and makes it all work and makes the sort of like the missions work. So they've been prototyping stuff so that they can start to move on to getting mission sharing in game at some point, potentially quite soon. They prototype stuff, it's worked, that they might have to roll it out per mission basis. Some missions aren't appropriate for mission sharing, like potentially scramble races, for example, and they have to be done in a different way. They've been building out screens for missions, but also the hacking and the way you interact with terminals, and also the fine kiosks as well. In the near future, you'll be going to kiosks to pay off fines. If you don't pay off the fines that you have because you've accrued them from lots of miniature crimes, then you'll get a more major crime and a crime stat. But these terminals will be around each of the major sort of like planetary zones where there are their own jurisdictions is the idea. They want their Clover Star Neely mission to spawn more often. There are going to be theme park ride type missions, much more handmade missions that aren't just procedurally generated, but there's going to be lots of mission webs, sort of like giving you lots of more sub-objectives and sub-missions and other missions that you might discover on the way. There's going to be cave missions, there's going to be mining in caves, inhabited caves. The first sort of state of inhabited caves is going to be enemy NPCs, but they'll have other NPCs in the future as well. You're going to have search and rescue missions. You're going to have find this cave and go kill the pirates in their missions. Missions can lend or give vehicles to players. They might be like, go and get X resources or cargo, or do this in this vehicle and bring it back. They're working out whether they want players to be able to use their own ships for some of these missions as well. They're sort of like looking into lots of different options. There's going to be reasons that you can't use a ship in certain areas or locations because, you know, there's air defenses or there's weather or there's environmental issues in that area, environmental hazards. What else have we got? There's going to be debt collection potentially for bounty hunters and that sort of stuff. They might get sent after players to remind them they've got fines to pay. You will be able to hack down fines as well as criminal rating. Hacking chips won't be essential in the future, but useful. Might be able to get uniforms and loot and that sort of stuff for mission rewards, not just for UEC. There could be lots and lots of side and sub missions. Tessa Bannister is going to be put in the game at some point as well. But they want to keep it back for some more sort of focused scanning gameplay and search and rescue and stuff like that. So let's actually talk about this. There's going to potentially be time-based missions to some extent. And you might be able to hack down turrets on comrades and bunkers in the future, sort of like either making them blind or making them attack enemies. 890 jump stuff. I just want to briefly talk about the 890 jump. So we know it's 210 meters long. We know it's coming in a 3.6.x patch, along with ship rentals and some more shield updates. It's got 68 rooms. Its cargo bay is large enough to be able to, and ramp and or elevator or whatever, is large enough to be able to take the Ballista and land the Ballista and use the Ballista in it. Well, not use the Ballista in it, but have the Ballista carried with it and then deployed. It's also got a hangar bay that can take up to 2 85Xs. They've been prototyping a FPS sort of like mission of some description for it as well. So that might be a mission that appears in game where you've got to assault a derelict one, or you've got to try and recapture one or something like that. So that sounds really interesting. And we've seen recently there's been sort of like, see if I actually got the pictures on my screen again, or if I've got rid of them. I may have got rid of them already. Oh no, maybe I haven't. Yes. So, they've been making props for the 890 jump as well. It's got a spa, it's got luxury biscuits, it's got a restauranty area, but the idea is there's lots of like luxury type props around the ship as well. Sandals, towels, literature, all that sort of cool stuff. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to the 890 jump. It's got lots and lots of social features, but also silly things that you don't need, which is what you want for a luxury ship, but it is massive. It's absolutely massive. You're able to land it at Lawville and Area 18 to start with, which is exciting, but more places in the future. Do we have any other questions before I dash off? Do you think we will have destructible buildings and stations? I think you might be able to damage buildings and stations, both like damage their systems. With buildings, I'm not entirely sure. You'll have, so the outposts, for example, you'll be able to nom up with a pioneer and move them. So I suspect you'll be able to destroy them in some way or disable them, but I'm not entirely sure. They probably haven't decided yet either. If they want us to use the issue cancel, why do they make it so bloody difficult to use? Expected to get it a bit easier to use. It's not awful to use, it's just not great, and it's not too intuitive, which is a shame. Missed Star Citizen Live, but wanted to ask if they said anything about commodity missions. Just what I discussed. They sort of briefly mentioned that there'll be player missions that you'll be able to generate to ask to move stuff around. Yeah, there could be missions where there are drop off this amount at this location of whatever, and there might be a timer on that as well. Tessa puts the lotion on her skin or she gets the hose again. Nice. Tessa Bannister, Tisa Spaceport, Texia, Tushia Pacheco. What's the deal with all the names and the variants? I know, right? They just make it as difficult as they can. Delamar Damar. Can we expect the 890 Jump episode next week? I would expect to see 890 Jump episode within the next couple of weeks. Might be next week, but more likely the week after. Any other questions before I jump off? That was I don't mind doing little watch parties. I know they're not much effort from my point of view. I do want to be as interactive as possible. I hope that wasn't annoying me talking over them. So, what are your thoughts on players being able to use Vandal capital ships? I think that's something that will come much later, if at all. So the Vandal ships that players can use in-game, like the Scythe or whatever, they're converted Asperia craft that have been made ready for humans. The Vandal are much, much taller than humans. Their gravity is much, much lower. So they can jump around their ships, and we're about to jump around their ships too. But the main thing is with the capital ships and like the Kingship, they probably haven't physicalized the full interior and might not plan to for a long time. The Squadron 42 stuff, they'll just have the physicalized interior of this huge ship to a high degree of detail, whatever, just for the areas that will be used. And getting it into the persistent universe, getting like the whole of the ship interior done might not be a thing they do. So we might not be able to use them and fly them ourselves. Maybe in the future, though, like in the much longer future, longer term. You hate it when they were talking over me. Oh man, that's no. The watch parties. I feel I am annoying people when I talk over, but I suppose people can just leave and watch the thing live anyway. So okay, as long as people enjoyed that to an extent, that's cool. Little bit of a advocacy love slave in the background. But you didn't see that. You didn't see that. Right. Love you guys. Thank you very much for the ridiculous amount of money that people threw at me and bits. They will go towards drinking for this weekend. I'm going to see my mate. I'll try and get another video planned and ready that will go live while I'm away tomorrow. And then I'll be back on Sunday anyway, so I'll try and get potentially another video on Sunday. So you might not even see any disruption. But later this month as well, I'm going away for a weekend to a private LAN party / board games thing with my mates. So I'm looking forward to that. So thank you very much for the support. Thank you very much for the love. I do love you guys. I'm the only stream that's not annoying. I think I'm incredibly annoying. Right? I'm not like super constantly super hype beyond, you know, my normal level. I talk to people on stream like I would talk to them in real life. Sometimes it's a bit weird, but you know, I think I'm a bit cringe sometimes at the very least. I watched a streamer that had problems with his upgrades to his ship. It disappeared when the game crashed. Is it a bug, or was that just for him? Game is buggy, yo. Your upgrades should be persistent for your ship now, until the patch resets, which is at least every 3 months. Might have a patch reset with 3.6.1. Right, love you guys. Mwah. Let's go check out and find a smaller streamer. You know, as if I'm some sort of fucking huge streamer somehow. Who is small and has a face cam? This guy. We're gonna go and host this guy, Jfish Media.
On my ships.
Anyone else? Just double check to make sure there's no one else. No, we're gonna go give Jfish Media some love. I've never seen him before. I'm gonna follow him and I'm gonna host him. And thank you very much for the love, guys. Love your faces. You take care, and yeah, I'll see you soon, or something like that. We need getting some stuff done. Doing some stuff which suggests to me that he loves me. /raid Jfish Media. Bam. That work? Did that work or not? /raid Jfish Media. Fuck it, why not? That'll probably work. Who fucking knows? Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Kiss your face. Mwah. Like, close my camera. Bam, bam, bam.